Hi guys, welcome back to the Lions Automobila Foundation Museum. We're here today with drag racing legend Jim Dunn. Jim, when did you start racing?
I started racing. I got my first trophy in 1949 at Santa Ana Drag Strip, the first drag strip that ever opened. I had a 39 Ford with 3/8 stroker in it.
So how did you get involved in drag racing?
Well, I was raised on a farm and no kids within 2 miles, so my dad was a cowboy, and he asked me what I liked. I said, I don't like horses. They step on me, they bite me. He says, well, I'll get you a car. So he got me a car. And for my 15th birthday, he says, what do you want? And I says, I want carburetors and a cam. He says, okay, but you put them in. So he made me do all the work on them. That's how I started learning.
Jim, can you tell us a little bit about your first race?
Yeah, it was at Santa Ana, and I was still in high school. And in those days, you got to roll and start with each other. And Hart be standing out there by the starting line, and he'd flag you. Pull the flags up, then you're supposed to hit the throttle. Mm-hmm. Boy, if we go from left all the way to the right, we go faster because we had more road to go on. And then they start putting us, okay, you come to the starting line and we'll have a flag going. So then you'll sit there and you learn, watch the driver. So Hart always had a cigar in his mouth. So when he'd put the flag down, he'd clench his teeth and the cigar would flip, and that's when we'd hit the throttle before the flag came up.
Oh my goodness.
And some guys were jumpers, and you'd watch them, you'd watch their knees. As soon as the knees moved, you left because you knew he was getting ready to jump. You never watch the flag, just like the tree. You don't watch the green light, you watch the yellow light. And as soon as you see the yellow light, you leave. You should never see the green light.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite race car that you ever raced, and why?
My Alder, Dunn Merritt Velasco, was the Alder because we made about 200 runs and got beat 2 or 3 times. We won the Winter Nationals twice on gas, put it on fuel, and won the Alder fuel meet on Bakersfield 2 months later.
And how fast did that car run?
170 some odd. Because Mooningham was the first coupe to go 170, and I went 170 the next week.
So it's a little bit of a difference what they're racing nowadays.
Oh yeah, but it's all fun, you know, and it was fun. You could do what you want. You could build it because I had a small block Chevy in mine. Everybody else had 392s in them. We built the own chassis in the garages, and it was all fun. We just did it for fun. And people on your crew where the guys didn't have enough money to put a car together, so they'd come and help you and say, thanks, let me help you work on your toy, you know.
Looking back at your career in drag racing, what would you say is your proudest moment?
Well, it's kind of silly, but I won a lot of trophies. Santa Ana, Orange County, and all that stuff. I said, boy, wait till I win the big one, how excited I'm going to be. So I won the March meet on fuel, which was the biggest race there was, and I didn't feel any different. I was just as excited to win a street race as I won a national meet.
When you began racing and starting your whole career, there was a couple drivers that had already established names for themselves. When you went out to the drag strip, was there anyone that you looked up to or mentored you or was an inspiration at all?
Not really. I mean, Garlitz, he had a name, and McEwen, Perdone, but I knew I could beat him. But see, that's what's wrong. Anytime you hire a driver, everybody will say, he thinks he's the best. Mm-hmm. He has to think that or he'll never win. So every driver you get should think he is the best.
Bob Moravis always says that it didn't matter who was in the next lane. You were just didn't matter if it was a friend or not, you were going to try to win.
That's right. The only thing I ever raced was the lights on the tree. Mm-hmm. I won a couple of world finals. I couldn't even tell you who I won, who I was racing, because it didn't matter. I was racing the tree, get the car to the end quick. This is not like NASCAR, where the drivers can go in deeper and come out harder. If you stage my car where you just blink the second blue light, that means you're in as shallow as you can get. Keep it straight, full throttle, don't get out of the groove, and shut it off at the finish line. All you can do now is slow my car down.
So you raced at Lions back in the day. Can you tell us what it was like when you just walked in and saw the drag strip in the museum?
Oh, it looks exactly like Lions did. I mean, we used to push them down the strip to start them, make a U-turn, and stage them and run. And it was just a good time for everybody. And there was a lot of fights going on. We were not the upper class of racing, I would call it. We were one step above the Hells Angel. We came out there and you see a lot of fists going, a lot of fights, But if you ever saw the movie Grease, that was real. That was us. And like I said one day in the 70s, when all the kids start doing their electronics and stuff, and they go, that's all they do. I says, well, if they went back to where we started in the 50s and 60s, they had those things, we'd be the biggest hackers there ever was.
And you were actually at the last drag race at Lions. Can you tell us what that day was like?
I lost. It was something to see, because as soon as they start tearing the track up after the last car run, they start putting their plows down through it. People were getting all kinds of souvenirs they could find and everything. And it was a sad day they left, but everybody leaves. But I'm kind of a bad deal, because I won the World Finals in Ontario. They closed the track the next month. I won the World Finals at Orange County. They closed the track the next month. And that's why I quit, so we could have tracks available.
That's very kind of you. What is something that you would tell the next generation driver?
Don't. You can't afford it. There's nothing. When we started in 1950, we had one saying: how fast you want to go, how much money you got. Well, right now, you got to have a lot of money to go fast.
And we were just talking about that as we toured the museum, that you were saying that fuel used to be how much?
Fuel? We could take a $20 bill and get 20 gallons worth of nitro. Right now, a barrel of nitro is about $1,600.
Earlier this week, I posted announcing that we were going to interview Jim Dunn himself. I asked if you guys had any questions to drop the comments right below, and we have the questions right here. Jim, the first question is, was drag racing more fun in the 70s and then 80s than it is today?
Oh yeah, driving was fun, because if you and a buddy had a good job, you could afford a fueler and you could actually win races with it. We only did it for fun. I still do it for fun. And everybody says, how can you afford to do it? And I said, the same price. I took every penny I had when I was a teenager. Luckily, I got more pennies than it takes every one I got.
All right, the next question is, would you ever consider doing Funny Car Summer 2?
No.
All right. Why didn't the rear engine funny car work?
The funny cars worked. The nuts on the steering wheel didn't. They made about 8 of them, crashed all 7 of them. I was the only one that didn't go over backwards or over the fence. They were very hard to drive. You had to be really in front of it. Everybody says, how can you do that? Because I'm scared of it. So I'm really quick on turning left and right with it. Couldn't keep the front ends down. They had more bite, which was right, but they only allow us a 125-inch wheelbase. So there's no way you could put the power you have now and hold it on the track and keep the front end down.
So you would say it was difficult to drive?
I quit driving. I told Woody Gilmore to build it. I says, I don't want to be 5'6". I'm 6'2". I don't want to run the guardrail, because they never go the same way. All cars, when you hit the throttle, take a set. They'll either want to go a little bit left or a little bit right. They'll do that 9 out of 10 times. But a funny car, it'd make 6 straight runs just as perfect, and dead left about 300 feet. 6 wrong runs, perfect. No, dead right this time, dead beat. So you had to be on top of it, and that's why they all crashed.
So I'm sure in your whole career you've had a crash or two. What makes a driver want to get back into the car after crashing?
I don't know. I never crashed.
Really?
I went through the sand. The only car I turned over was opening day in Phoenix, and I told Charlie Allen, I said, there's not much shut-off here. Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, chutes didn't open. Luckily, the jets had already knocked the fence down, and I went out there and ran into the ditch and turned it over sideways, but didn't get hurt or anything. That was the only time I ever had it on its side or upside down.
Oh, wow. Jim, you race full season. What do you do on the off weekends?
Oh, that's really fun. I get to go home and figure out why I didn't run good.
All right, last question is from Mark. Will you be attending the Lions Automobila Museum June 11th for Funny Car Fever?
If they pay me enough, and a Coke would be enough.
So Jim Dunn this year is going to be our 2022 Lions Automobila Foundation Museum Grand Marshal. Jim, are you excited to be our Grand Marshal this year?
Yeah, because I may not be here next year. I'm 88 right now.
All right, everybody. You heard it here first from Jim Dunn, who will be our Grand Marshal June 11th for Fun and Car Fever. So make sure you guys check our website and get some tickets to come on down. Jim, thank you once again for coming down today.
Thank you. It's a really beautiful place. You people should come down and see it.